It is 7 o'clock in Georgetown, Guyana. We thank you very much for joining us this evening. We had no afternoon rush this afternoon. Some other issues we are dealing with, but we are here. It is 7 o'clock, and we are going to be bringing you the latest breaking news. It might not be breaking news for you at this point in time because it was breaking earlier today, but we hadn't an opportunity to really talk about this. My name is Randolph Critchell. Welcome to those persons who are joining us internationally in the region and right here in Guyana. We are going to be talking about the latest PPP scandal, of course, their involvement, their part they played in this international procurement scandal, so to speak, of the Sputnik V COVID vaccine from this middleman, the sheikh, and as acting as the intermediary. It is a big story. It is a lot to unpack, folks, and I want to give you the best opportunity to really understand what is happening with this story. So we are going to be talking about that. We're going to be going from the beginning, talking about the countries involved, talking about all of the various things that happened chronologically. Folks, it is a serious matter, and we want to deal with it as such. The leader of the opposition released a statement today on the matter. We are going to play the video statement for you, and I'm going to be joined by Nicole Telford, our political correspondent, to break down what this means and what is happening here in Guyana. Of course, Guyana, the Guyana government, the PP government, caught up in this international procurement scandal. In layman's term, the Sputnik V vaccine was procured by these people from the Emirates. The Sheikh, of course, you remember that those persons visited Guyana, and they have been visiting a number of other countries, and they are selling these vaccines at inflated prices, and Guyana has been caught up in that. Of course, it seems as though we didn't do our due diligence, but maybe we knew what was happening. But we are going to be unpacking this issue limb by limb, branch by branch, leaf by leaf tonight, and we're going to be doing that. I'm going to be joined by Nicole Telford. Nicole, good evening to you.
Good evening, and thanks for having me on the program. Good evening to all the viewers.
Yes, Nicole, I'm telling the viewers that this is not necessarily breaking news because we heard about this morning, but we needed an opportunity to really understand the whole story here and all of the players involved. And I'm hoping that we can do the viewers some justice this evening as to explain to them what really went down with this Sputnik V vaccine that we procured from a middleman, so to speak, and not necessarily the Russians, because we know that the Russians were selling the vaccine for $10 a dose, and we paid some $20 a dose for it. But I'm not going to push too much information forward. I would like to start with the leader of the opposition, his statement today on this particular matter. Of note, though, Nicole, is that the opposition members of parliament only yesterday were debating this issue of vaccination and the purchase of vaccine in parliament, and the Minister of Health seemed not to know where he got these Sputnik vaccines from. He said he don't know this man. Your thoughts on that before we get to the leader of the opposition statement?
Well, yeah, he doesn't know because he didn't receive the Arab. You saw who received the Arab that came into the country. So let's get the opposition statement, like you said.
Let's go. That's going to give us a nice base to start this conversation. We're also going to go to a news report out of Ghana, because Ghana is also caught up in this scandal, and we are going to, of course, go to the Norwegian newspaper that broke the story, and it incorporated Guyana in all of it, because of course we too bought this from the sheikh. But let's take the lead of the opposition's statement, and then we'll come back to kind of piece together this puzzle. Right? Let's take that statement now.
Good evening, my dear fellow Guyanese. Yesterday, Monday, June 14th, in the National Assembly, the Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, disclosed that the PPP administration had procured 200,000 doses of the Sputnik 5 COVID-19 vaccines at a cost of 957 million Guyana dollars. This procurement was from one Sheikh Ahmad Dalmouk Al Maktoum of the United Arab Emirates. This sum was not budgeted for, neither did it receive the prior approval of the National Assembly, but the PPP went ahead and spent it. Minister Anthony further disclosed that the PPP regime intended to procure an additional 58,000 Sputnik 5 vaccines from the same Sheikh Al Maktoum for an additional $275,964,000. This amounts to $1,232,964,000 in Sputnik 5 vaccines being procured from Sheikh Al Maktoum in 2 orders. Guyanese would remember that in November 2020, this Sheikh Al Maktoum, accompanied by Omar Farouz Zahour, visited Guyana on a private jet as a guest of the state and hosted by President Irfan Ali. Recently, in our regional newspaper, Vorden's Gang, in a global investigative report, revealed that Mr. Zahour, who accompanied the Sheikh, is a Pakistani national and grew up in Norway, that he is wanted in that country as part of an investigation into a massive fraud, and that he was being sheltered and protected in the United Arab Emirates by his close associate, Sheikh Al Maktoum. Even more disturbingly, the Vorden's Gang report reveals that the Sheikh has procured the Sputnik 5 vaccines from a Norwegian man by the name of Per Morten Hansen. Hansen, the report goes on to say, is indicted in Norway for money laundering and evading customs duties. Per Hansen is also indicted in Belgium for money laundering. When the question was asked yesterday in the National Assembly of Dr. Frank Anthony whether the Sputnik 5 vaccines bought by Guyana were procured through Per Morten Hansen, Dr. Anthony stated that, "I don't know who is that." However, the investigation by the Vorden's Gang newspaper reveals and provides supporting evidence that Sheikh Al Maktoum and Per Morten Hansen are associates and they work in tandem. The Vorden Gang investigative report states, and I quote, "VG," that is the Virgin Gang, has documented how intermediaries have obtained the Sputnik vaccine and are reselling it at a premium. Through investigations in countries including Ghana, Russia, Pakistan, Guyana, and Iraq, the newspaper has been able to document how the Russian vaccines have traveled via the Sheikh in the Emirates and around the world. Among those involved are at least one individual with a long and troubled past with the law in Norway. This is from the report itself. The newspaper report identifies this one individual, the middleman who supplies the Sputnik 5 vaccines from the Russians to 𝐁𝐫𝐞𝐚𝐤𝐢𝐧𝑠, as Pierre Morton Hansen. When I questioned Dr. Anthony in the National Assembly yesterday about the procurement method for the purchase of these vaccines, the minister disclosed that it was done by direct sourcing. Guyanese would understand that also to mean single source. Minister Anthony further claimed that the PVP administration had approached the Russian sovereign fund and was advised that the fund could not provide vaccines, but directed them to Al Maktoum, the 𝐁𝐫𝐞𝐚. It is evident that the PPP did not exercise due diligence in its attempt to purchase vaccines, and this executive recklessness now exposes a number of issues. These include that the installed PPP regime knowingly participated in an international vaccine racket, that the PPP knowingly engaged in a price gouging transaction, which it had to have known was exploitative, and that they overpaid over 600 million Guyana dollars, Guyanese taxpayers' money, for the Sputnik vaccine. We understand the importance of the vaccine and we support the vaccine program. But the way in which the PPP was eager to engage with the 𝐁𝐫𝐞𝐚 and his dubious associates to close this deal and to hand over billions of Guyanese dollars, Guyanese taxpayers' money in this transaction, it was deliberately put together in our estimation to defraud the state and benefit a few people, Guyanese taxpayers' dollars. This level of industrial scale corruption by the installed PPP regime has been disclosed at a time when Guyanese are suffering from a COVID-19 pandemic, the worst flood disaster in its history we are suffering from. High and rising cost of living, together with low wages and salaries paid to public servants, and the blatant discrimination by the installed PPP regime in the manner in which it manages the affairs of the state. Guyanese demand a full explanation of this vaccine racket from President Irfan Ali, and we are demanding that urgently. I thank you, my dear brothers and sisters.
Wow. Nicole, I don't know what to say. I am lost of words. A lot to unpack there, a whole lot to unpack there, Nicole, about what has happened. For those persons who are now joining us, we are going to be trying to unpack for you this latest revelation that we saw in the Norwegian newspaper about this global, so to speak, this international vaccine racket, where this intermediary, well, they're claiming it's just business, but this intermediary through the 𝐁𝐫𝐞𝐚 the Emirates and his business partners who would have procured the COVID vaccine, the Sputnik V, from Russia, and are now selling it back to a number of poorer countries who can't get it from other places at exorbitant prices. What is your takeaway from that, Nicole?
Well, Randy, I've listened to the Ghana News Report,
Yeah,
and it is a shame. This
yeah,
is a known criminal that is wanted in Norway, and the
yeah.
PPP is engaging with a known criminal. That's one. Number two, why is there a middleman or a middleman in the delivery of healthcare supplies with regards to COVID-19? I'm
Mhm.
afraid of any kind of linkages where healthcare is concerned. I am afraid, like I said, with anything that has to do with healthcare and this level of corruption going on, it was not, the parliament was, as a matter of fact, dissolved for over 90 days. No one went to parliament to debate or to, bring up the figures and the amount of Guyanese that will be getting Sputnik. It got all kinds of other vaccine, AstraZeneca and all the rest of vaccines. None of this
Yeah,
went to parliament so they could debate to determine how many Guyanese, who are the responsible, but they know that they will spend 600 or how much $1 billion, 600 million to at least $1 billion on Sputnik vaccines through a middleman that came here on a private jet. You understand,
right,
Randy?
right. So
Came on a
let's
private
just
jet.
start breaking it down for the viewers, Nicole. And this is the article from the VG newspapers. And they lay it
Yeah.
out very precisely at the beginning, right? A sheikh and a man who was wanted by Norwegian police traveling to poor countries selling Russian vaccine at premium. This is what they've been doing. And I want to say this to persons who are looking. There is a a similarity between what happened in Ghana and what happened in Guyana, and we'll show you those similarities, Nicole. Right? So we're going through what happened there, right?
Yes.
And in Norway, a businessman denies involvement. A secret audio recording that tells a different story. And this Sputnik for sale. And they start from the beginning, right? March 3rd, a flight from the Emirates is taxiing on the terminal in Accra in Ghana, where the Minister of Health is waiting. And we're going to get to Guyana, because the similarities are striking. The similarities are striking as what happened in Guyana. But let's just go through. Right? Out steps two men, the Sheikh and a second cousin of the ruler of Dubai. This is the man who is wanted. Well, who is charged in Norway, right? The other has been on the run from Norwegian police for years. Boxes containing 16,000 doses of Russian Sputnik V are unloaded, from the plane and placed in front of the Minister of Health. This is it. This is what happened in Norway, and I want you to see the striking similarities at what happened in Guyana. Right? The samples prove that the Sheikh has access to the coronavirus vaccine, a product sought after by every country in the world. Now it is time for negotiations. 6 days later, the Minister of Health of Ghana signs an agreement with the Sheikh. They announced that they've reached an agreement regarding the purchase of 3.4 million doses of vaccine. No price was publicly disclosed. If that sounds familiar, it is almost identical to what happened
Identical
in Guyana.
to what occurred here.
Yes, right? And it doesn't end here. It goes through a long list, and I will not go through the entire story because this is a long movie. This thing got what's his name again? Steven Seagal in it and all sorts of people involved in this corruption. But we're going to go to Guyana because we are concerned about what happened here. And we are not to be left out in this story. We are not to be left out. Right? We are involved in this story. I'm scrolling down. Folks, if you want to, you can go and check it. So now we reached to Guyana. We reached to Guyana. On the 19th of November last year, private planes lands in Guyana, South America. South America's poorest country. Out steps Sheikh Maktoum, dressed in his traditional white garb.
Scroll up, Randy.
Where? We here?
Scroll
right.
Up.
Well, we're going to it. We're going to it. And accompanied by the same man who is wanted. And folks, you can see it on the screen right now. You can see it on the screen. This is this thing. Remember, we saw this happen in Ghana. They come with the vaccines. They sign some deal that people don't know about. And then you hear that we're getting X amount. Guyana got 200,000 doses of the vaccine. People, and I want people to understand, it is not about not getting the vaccine because you want persons to get the vaccines. But the public didn't know how much they paid for it. They really didn't know. A question was asked of Jagdeo at a press conference where he revealed that he paid $20 a dose for this vaccine. But we're going to get to that just now. What we're highlighting here, Nicole, and I hope you're noticing it towards the audience, that the striking similarities of what happened in Ghana, but here, exact same thing. These people who gobbled up the resources, the bigger countries are already down buying vaccines in the millions, so you don't get in. So the Sheikh and his business partners decided, you know what, we're going to make a money from this thing. And you see these poor countries that can't get vaccines, we're going to buy it from the Russians. We're going to buy it from the Russians, and we are going to go to Ghana and Pakistan and Guyana and Iraq and these places, and we are going to sell it at an inflated price. Folks, that is what has happened. That is what essentially played out. And this report basically reveals that we are part of this international price gouging scandal where these persons decided that they're going to make money off of people suffering. And, unfortunately, Guyana has been caught up in it, and Guyanese taxpayers' dollars gone to this issue now. Nicole, I know you're there. I want to know your thoughts.
It's
I want to know your thoughts on this.
And look at the players. Look at the players in the images seen on screen. The viewers need to get a good look at the players.
But we had the fraudulent ministers there. It looks like Indar. It also looks like the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the other Minister of Tourism.
Tourism installed.
Right.
Installed Minister
installed
of Foreign Affairs, installed Minister of Tourism, and it looks like Indar.
Right. Let's just give the viewers an idea what happened. Let's continue because it chronicles everything, So this newspaper reports that, look, at a press conference in May of last year, VG requests from a local journalist to ask the vice president from whom the country had purchased the vaccines and how much he had paid. Right? And of course, this was Jagdeo's response. Right? He said the first set of Sputnik vaccine cost $20 per dose. We shopped around in the United States and they were unable to obtain any vaccine. And this is understandable. I mean, at this point in time, it's understandable. You're looking to get vaccines for your people. And he said, we tried COVAX and we to no avail. And then a company associated with the Prince of Dubai came here, said the vice president. The seller said they had limited vaccine inventory, according to the vice president. At that time, we would probably pay whatever it costs. Which this is an understandable explanation. What the problem is, the problem that I have with this, I don't know if you might have a problem with this. It's the end of the statement. This is what the fraudulent vice president said. He said initially Guyana purchased 200,000 doses, right? And then the reporter asked, what is the name of the company affiliated with the sheikh? I do not know. You do not. You know the company that you're buying these vaccines from that jacking up the price? He does not know the name of the
vice
company.
president that telling people to take this Sputnik, and he doesn't know the name of the company. At that time, he told the journalist he don't know the name of the company. He doesn't know.
Right. He is just, so the sheikh come as the middlemen, the intermediaries who are gobbling up these vaccines from Russia and doubling the price and coming to these poor countries and saying, look, we got them for you, because America ain't got all these first world countries, shame on them as far as I'm concerned, because they gobble up vaccines more, sometimes 6 times more than the population size. So the poor countries like Guyana, we ended up in this madness, and our brilliant leaders, the brilliant leaders didn't do their due diligence. So when asked about who is buying these vaccines from,
Randy, our installed leaders did not do their due diligence.
I'm being facetious. I'm being I'm not being literal. But I'm saying to you, how could you sit in front of the media and say you don't know where the company that is selling you these vaccines? What sort of madness is that? How are we supposed to believe that you don't know the people that you are signing a multi-billion-dollar contract with? You're just signing with this sheikh, and he's going to take your money and give it to some middle company to get the vaccines in. This is what happened again, similar to what happened in Ghana. This is what happened in Guyana, because the public didn't know from whence this vaccine came or which company is supplying. We know that we got it. The sheikh came in, he signed a deal with us, and we got some vaccines. Good, people want vaccines, but due diligence is important. Taxpayers have a right to know whether or not it is some company trying to hustle you out to some millions of dollars, and essentially that is what happened. We were hustled out to $600 million. Exactly. We got the vaccines. We got the vaccines. I really don't know what else to say. I really don't know what else to say. But this story is really revealing. Really revealing. How could you advise? Go ahead, Nicole.
Where are the journalists and the newspaper? We got 4 dailies in Guyana. Now probably 5. Where are they on this? When will they investigate? When will they question the regime on Sputnik, where they got it from, who is the middleman, why was there need for a middleman, why is the Sputnik being sold at $4,800 and something when Powell says the price to be sold at is $2,000 or $10 US. They need to explain all of those things to us.
Yeah. Nicole, I want the audience to see, because Ghana has, they're embroiled in this
report.
Right.
Yes.
I want that the audience to see the report from the Ghana news agency, Joy News, so as to give them a better idea of what really played out, not only in Guyana, but over there in Ghana also. I'll see if I can pull up that news report now. I'll give you a better idea. Let me see. because it is really unbelievable, really unbelievable. Right?
Welcome back. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, investigations by a Norwegian newspaper into the procurement of Sputnik V vaccines in Ghana has revealed irregularities leading the country to buy the doses at nearly double the approved price of $10. The story alleges that two middlemen, one a sheikh and a cousin of the ruler of Dubai, the other has been on the run from Norway for years on money laundering charges. We'll hear from the Citizens Movement Against Corruption on this, as well as the Health Ministry. Right now, though, there is Marcus Tobasin, who led the investigations by the VG newspaper. Marcus joins us right now via Zoom. Hello, Marcus. Hello, Marcus.
Hello, are you able to hear me?
Hi, Marcus. Thank you very much for your time. Give us some insight into the investigation.
So our investigation mainly deals with how the Russian Sputnik vaccine has been sold through intermediaries in the United Arab Emirates to a number of countries, amongst other Ghana.
And what are some of the findings, apart from what you have in the newspaper? What it indicates, your findings in the newspaper show that these middlemen are selling the vaccines at almost double the price of $19 rather than $10. What else does it uncover as far as this process of the vaccine leaving Russia and making its way towards Ghana?
Well, we don't know the exact details of all the deals that have been made along the way, but what we see is that the Russians are selling vaccines through their monetary fund, the RDIF, the Russian Direct Investment Fund. And they have made deals with a company called 𝐬𝐧𝐠 in the United Arab Emirates. That company again has made the Sheikh Ahmed Al-Maktoum an exclusive sales agent for a number of countries, amongst other Ghana. So that's what we can say about the route. And as you correctly said, the Russians are selling vaccines at about $10 per dose. We see that from public deals that have been made, where the contracts have been made public in the likes of Slovakia and Hungary. And on the deals we've seen that have gone through 𝐬𝐧𝐠 and the Emirates, we see that the deals are made at prices of $19, $20, and $22.50 per dose.
In your investigation, did you reach out to Ghanaian authorities, and what information did they give you, if you did?
Yes. We've been speaking to a number of officials in Ghana. I was also on a 4-day trip to Ghana. And I think it is the finance minister, Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta, he put it very...
Ken Ofori-Atta is the finance minister.
The finance minister, yes.
The health minister. You spoke with the finance minister?
Yes, we were not able to get an interview with the health minister. But we were able to get an interview with the finance minister. Yes, that's correct. And Ken Ofori-Atta, he explained in terms of when he was asked about the pricing and asked whether or not he considered it a reasonable deal, he basically, or I'll quote verbatim what he said. He said, "I don't know. You know, you are confronted with the good guys from the West not giving you any assurance of supply. And you have 30 million people of which you have to save the lives. You know, it's easy to sit somewhere and say, why are you doing this? But you need to make sure you protect your people and you manage as well as you can." And he went on to say that basically this is all a contrived and manufactured crisis to get the supply, because clearly there is enough to go around if there was an equity and a justice in what we were doing. That was the end of his quote.
And apart from him, which other investigations did you do in Ghana to back the role of this intermediary, if you found that necessary?
Yeah, so I think one of the important things was just to establish the meeting that happened there on the 3rd of March, when the first shipment of some 16,000 doses were brought up. So that was mentioned in press briefings by the Information Ministry in Ghana, but we were able to secure pictures from the event itself that shows both the 𝐁𝐫𝐞𝐚𝐤𝐢𝐧𝑠 𝍍𝐞𝐰𝐬 there at the airport, but also, as you might have mentioned earlier on, 𝐁𝐫𝐞𝐚𝐤𝐢𝐧𝑠 which is wanted for charges of fraud here in Norway.
But then they... Go ahead.
No, if you were asking about other sources, we of course spoke with Dr. Kwame Ponsagiano, who heads the inoculation program of Ghana, and a number of other NGOs, reporters, and other people who were able to help us with collecting information to confirm the reality of the deal.
And did you, by the way, get any information from this intermediary? Did they get the chance to respond to some of these
Yes.
concerns?
The Sheikh himself has not replied, but we did an interview with Umar Farok Sahor. I could read one of his quotes if you'd like to hear what he had to say about it.
Yes, go ahead.
He said that he personally had not made any profit from this, and he said, if I've made money from it, then I've made money from a good deal. There's nothing wrong with that. And he said, we are subject to non-disclosure agreement with the authorities when we buy and sell. So we have no interest in discussing details regarding what types of agreement and what types of prices and what types of expenses are involved. So he would not divulge any details. They were acknowledging the deal. But he did also later on the conversation go on to say that he has not personally made, like Umar Farok Sahor says, he had not personally made any profit from this deal, and that he would not, that he not personally signed on the deal like he did back when the Ameri energy deal was made back in 2015. I'm not sure if you refer to that in the program here, but of course the Sheikh and Umar Farok has previously made news in Ghana.
So yes, your report in the newspaper shows that this same individual, was also involved in the Ameri transaction.
That is correct.
And apart from him, there's another person who your report says is wanted by authorities in Norway. Give us a bit more information on this person.
Well, I would correct it there in saying that he is charged, but he's out on bail, so he's not wanted in that sense. But that is the businessman Per Morten Hansen. That's correct. And I would also clarify there that, as we write in our newspaper, there is an audio recording in which he assigns a role to himself. A recording that was made previously to the deal being made public. Per Morten Hansen, the businessman, has later first denied ever saying such a thing. And when he was confronted with the audio tape, he has later stated that he has no involvement in vaccine sales anywhere in the world. So he is disavowing his previous statements.
Hang on for me, Marcus, if you may, if you do have the time. I just want to engage Kofi Tro. He's a representative of the anti-graft agency here in Ghana, the Citizens Movement Against Corruption. Kofi, thank you very much for your time. I've just been engaging the Norwegian journalist who worked on this report that's indicating that Ghana has bought the COVID-19 vaccines from Russia at an overpriced, cost.
Nicole, before we go to the other part of that report, let me just bring you back in here. Let me just bring you back because it is quite interesting. You know why it's interesting, Nicole? Because as the leader of the opposition said in his comments early in the program, that the Minister of Health in Guyana, the Minister of Health, as the girl just said on the report, Ghana caught up in this thing about buying overpriced vaccines. Health was asked whether or not they were buying these vaccines from this same gentleman, and he said that he doesn't know this man. He doesn't know this man. Jack doesn't know who the vaccine come from. So where are we getting it from?
So this is planned then. So this is planned. This is planned by this same man. He goes around to sell this vaccine and tells these ministers of health and all the other players, anytime you're asked where you get this vaccine from, you don't know.
Well,
Is that
I don't know.
what I'm getting? Because that's what I'm getting.
I don't know. I want to believe that these people are aware of this man's past. They're aware that he has been caught up in fraud charges in Norway, and they're afraid to own up that the fact that we're dealing with a known criminal, with a known convict. So Frank Anthony, when asked in the House, said he doesn't know who that man is. And let's just assume that he's telling us the truth, that Frank Anthony is telling the nation the truth, that he doesn't know this man who is involved in this deal. The man came to Guyana. He was greeted by 3 ministers at jumping off of the private jet. Right?
Yes.
They were going around to all religious services and all manner of things with the president. I mean the president. But you know, this is strange. Why is it that the Minister of Health doesn't know the man who came to sign a deal to bring COVID vaccines to your country? That sounds like it makes any sense.
And the vice president too. The
Right.
installed vice president, the installed minister of health, all of them. How come they don't know the person? They didn't check what happened to the investigators, the people that work with the president, work with all of these ministers, their advisors. What happened to them? They didn't do the investigation to find out what type of persons they're engaging with. Also, look at the burden the taxpayers got to be faced with all of these monies that the PPP is just squandering.
Yes.
And spending unnecessarily when the vaccines could be had directly from, if they take a Sputnik from Russia or wherever, they could access that vaccine. These people place a middleman there, and they went to the middleman. You could imagine that? We could be getting anything in those vials.
Yeah.
We could be actually getting, because where money is concerned, once you put a price on something, everything gone crazy. Because we could be getting, like I said, Randy, different things in those vials.
But let me say this, Nicole, just for some clarity's sake. Right. Let me say this, and this is going on what the leader of the opposition said in his statement, that Guyana had approached the Russians, and they said they don't have, and they directed them to the Sheikh. So this is a bigger conspiracy. This is a bigger game being played here, because even the Russians are telling you we don't have our own vaccines. Is it that the Sheikh and the people in the Emirates bought up all the vaccines and decided this is how they are going to run the business and exploit all these poor countries? This seems as if that is the case.
So that's how Europe and that type part of the world operate. That's how they operate. But our government should be able to safeguard themselves, right?
Yeah.
And negotiate with legitimate organizations and people. Because what you're saying, Russia is sending them to a middleman, and this middleman, a known criminal, to conduct business on their behalf.
Yeah.
And this man flying all around the country on behalf of the Russians.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
That's what seems. And there is a middle company. That's what it seems like, and they are representing this company, and they're going to these poor countries and say, "Look, we have some vaccines we can give you." But the problem is, it's not about offering the vaccine. You know, the problem is that the price, the market price, the price that Russia set, they're coming to tell you that we have it because you can't go to Russia. Russia telling you go to them. This is how big this conspiracy is. Russia is telling you go to the Sheikh. When you go to the Sheikh, the money is doubled. These are international profiteers profiting from debt and despair in these poor countries. And that is what, and those are the people that we have engaged with. Those are the people we welcome with open arms in our country and shuttle them around. Those are the people that we're dealing with. It is quite sad.
And don't forget the installed Vice President Barjaglio did say if people don't take the vaccine, they'll have to pay for it. So there's another part. They will have to pay for it. So they're going to get a third man now. There's going to be a third man, not a third middleman, but a third man. Because where do you pay for it? Not at Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation. You'll have to pay for it at the private institution. So we might have a third middleman just now.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, this story has so many different parts to it. It has so many different levels. We see the same thing, Nicole, occurring in Pakistan, right? As we see here, this is outside of a hospital in Karachi, Pakistan, where there were long queues of people hoping to purchase the vaccine. This was in April of this year, right? In Pakistan, the Sheikh has entered into the agreement with the local private pharmaceutical companies selling the vaccine. So the same sort of shakedown, no pun intended. This is what we're seeing. These poor countries who are now desperate.
Shakedown. It's a literal shakedown.
Right.
Right?
I mean,
the whole people, the whole cabinet, they got shaken down.
Yeah. This is what they're doing. This is what they are doing. It is quite sad. And again in India, sorry, in Pakistan, the local pharmaceutical companies are now buying it and selling it back to the people. Right?
Oh yeah.
In Guyana here, the government signed this deal to pay over $1 billion for these vaccines. There was no sort of public scrutiny. There was no. We are now knowing this. We are now knowing this. The public is now finding out that we paid X amount for a vaccine. And I will say this again, and I want it to be clear, Nicole. And the leader of the opposition said it. There is no problem with procuring vaccines. We want people to get vaccines. At the same time, hard-earned Guyanese taxpayers' dollars should not be squandered in a international shakedown deal. Right? That's the meat of the problem. That is the meat of the problem. It should not be at the cost of hard-earned taxpayers' dollars. And you know, we see the people in Ghana crying out for the same thing. They say, why did we overpay for this? Why did these people come pretending to be the saviors and salvation when they went and they bought out all of the stuff from Russia, and the Russians telling you they don't have it? So it is quite sad that we are caught up in this. We obviously didn't do our due diligence, Nicole. Obviously,
not we. The PPPC didn't do the due diligence.
Well, I'm happy. I'm happy you're correcting me.
Remember, the PPP didn't do their due diligence, and they were, you know, engaging with a criminal, known criminal, as was unearthed by the journalists in Ghana and the group that was for democracy or development.
Yeah.
The guy Bosniak or what his name was. And I would hope, Randy, that all the newspapers tomorrow do some due diligence and
we're going to see
from all of the players in the Sputnik scandal, all of the players, to get to the truth of the matter and let Guyanese taxpayers know how their money is being spent and why we need so many Sputnik vaccines. We don't mind getting the vaccines once they're good and once we know that's what we're getting.
Yeah.
Right? They
right.
must do the investigation so that our country is safe and the Guyanese people understands exactly what is happening, because we understand what was happening for the past 90-something days. Only yesterday in Parliament, And now with this breaking story on the 7th of June.
Right. There's no transparency. There's none. We just see the Sheikh coming. I didn't look. I am sure the Guyanese were wondering why the man come in the country. We were never told why the Sheikh was here.
Yeah, I wonder too. I was like, why is this man here? What is he doing? What business deal happening? You understand what business deal? But only, lo and behold, Jack Dio hiding. You understand? He gone foreign. He hiding.
Yeah. We didn't know.
Not necessarily that he gone foreign, right? But he just hiding.
Let's see.
He's not coming and telling the public, because he's the spokesperson, and he's not coming and telling the public exactly what we need to know. It's our money. We pay taxes. We pay taxes in Guyana. We need to know. The opposition leader and the opposition member of parliament, they questioned them at length at parliament on yesterday.
The purchase of these vaccines.
And they should be able to give us answers. No answers were given. All we heard, they do not know, but they need the money. All the money they need.
Yeah, definitely. Let's play the end part of this interview from Joy TV, Joy News in Ghana, and hopefully, Nicole, we can get some representative from the newspapers in Norway and the Ghana news on a subsequent show, because we're trying to get them right now, because we want to know what are some of the similarities in the stories. We heard that the finance minister of Ghana gave a statement. He said, look, and I honestly understand his position, because the first world countries were buying up the vaccine. He's saying, look, the good guys didn't give us any vaccine. These people come from the Emirates, say, listen, we got this thing, but Yanga give we 2 times the amount for it. Problem is, Nicole, that the Guyanese people did not know that. It is a secrecy and the underhandedness that this thing was done in the way it was done. We come to parliament and now we know we pay
refusal to give us the answers in this democracy. In this, what they're calling democracy. This is tyranny. Their refusal to give us the answers.
Yeah. I am sure Guyanese would have wanted to know, look, the Sheikh is in the country because he has access to vaccines and he will help us. And at that point in time, they would have to say, okay, so how much we buying this vaccine for? And at some sort of public hearing, they could have justified, look, we really need these vaccines. So we're going to pay double the amount for it because we care about the Guyanese people. And I know that is what they're going to come with. The problem is that you did it on an underhanded, secretive manner, and you didn't give the opposition nor the Guyanese public at large an opportunity to scrutinize what you are doing with these people. Somebody could have pointed out, well, look, this man that bring this thing, he is a convict in Norway. We probably shouldn't be doing deals with him, right? And let us see if we can work with the COVAX people to get more of the AstraZeneca vaccine. You know, it's always giving me the AstraZeneca vaccine. Or let's see if we can get some of the Sinopharm from China. And let us not pay these exorbitant amounts for the Sputnik. That is what public consultations are for, Nicole. Sad.
Exactly.
Sad. Let me play the last part of the
Let's see how it unfolds.
Yes, let's play the last part for those persons who are now joining us. We're breaking down the international price gouging, price inflation scandal that has been broken by the Norwegian newspaper VG, which involves Guyana, because Guyana is deep in this. We bought vaccines from the same people who are now being accused of selling it overinflated prices. Let's continue with the news out of Ghana, where they were explaining the Ghanaian involvement in this.
What are your initial thoughts on this?
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. bring our thoughts on this subject matter. And originally, we would want to take it from the point of view of the sales price from the producers. If you trace on the production line, the producers in Moscow to give a cap of $10 for this vaccine. But how is the availability in the market? And that is what is bringing about all these challenges, because first, most countries are going through a means of COVAX to help them get this vaccine. And the various sub-regional bodies such as AU and EU are also much involved. The third means of having access to these vaccines were through individuals and also other business entities, as we are finding here. And that is the easiest way to really have a kind of negative or bad deal against various countries. Because you get to know that in the case of Ghana, we are buying it at double of the original price, which is against these developing countries that are already struggling. And unfortunately, it has been the case around the world. Some countries that are well-to-do are buying multiple of the needed vaccines. And so it has created a shortage for most developing countries not to be able to have access. Then the second aspect that we want to look at this from as well is for the fact that as a country, this is an international agreement. But then it's interesting to know that Parliament is not even are not discussed and is not aware. If for nothing at all, the select committee should have a preview to some of these things. But then, unfortunately, they also do not have access to this.
Do we know that for sure?
Yes, because the ranking member, I was privy to one interview granted by the ranking member, and then he stated this.
Okay.
Then another aspect as well is the Coalition of Health Organizations. If you listen to some of their interactions recently, they are normally brought on board when some of these vaccines are being procured. Even other issues of procurement of malaria vaccines and even vaccines for HIV and all those diseases, we are able to engage them to also bring their ideas on board in order to help us procure at a reasonable prices across the world. But in this case, we are not being engaged. We understand that these are critical times, but then in as much as we are in critical times, we should also know that these countries already are cash strapped as a result of many of the interventions that we have done. So it is good that we do due diligence on businesses that are being engaged. Because if you look critically at the individuals that are being engaged now, these are people that are already in the news in most of these countries, especially Norway and the European countries that are known to have questionable issues.
Right.
So at least from the angle of the Ministry of Health, we believe that it was something that at first hand, they could have some of this information or profile some of these people to have some of this simple information.
Right. So there, Nicole, the people in Ghana saying the same thing. The information should have been made public so that they can know these are the players involved. This is the amount that we are spending on it. Sorry. You hear me now? Right. My mic is on. So same thing in Ghana, same thing in Guyana. The people there are saying the information should have been made public so that they can know what is happening. Nicole, I'll offer you some final words now because we're going to... Nicole, you hear me? We're going to be switching over to Sherrod Duncan's In the Ring. I'm going to give you some final words. There's something probably happening with Nicole's speaker microphone there, but those persons who are joining us, we were unpacking some of the issues in as a part of this whole big international price inflation, overpriced procurement of COVID vaccine, the Sputnik V from Russia, which seemed to be gobbled up by those persons in the Middle East, the Emirates. We saw the Sheikh come to Guyana. We of course following the story. Government of Guyana seems ignorant of anybody. They don't know the man. They don't know the vice president say he doesn't know who they're buying it, the company name that they're buying it from. We didn't know how much we're paying for it. We didn't know that that's why that's what the Sheikh came in the country for. So it is all one big mystery apparently. But people are being vaccinated. At the end of the day, folks, we continue to encourage persons to take the vaccine because COVID-19 is real. The key issue here is not the vaccine. I don't want people to go saying that the vaccine is because the vaccine has been proven, at least in the research, not the research, the information coming now after it was given to person, because this vaccine has not been approved by WHO nor the for use in the EU, but it has been proven effective, up to 96% efficacy. So taking the vaccine will prevent you from dying. We don't want Guyanese to die. That's not the key issue here. The key issue has been that how this thing was done, how this thing was procured, the people and the players involved, dubious to say the least, and the secretive, underhanded way in which these billions of dollars were sent to this company that the fraudulent vice president said he don't know. He didn't know the company. But we sent billions of Guyana dollars to this company in exchange for 200,000 doses of Sputnik V vaccines. I think we have Nicole, offer Nicole an opportunity to give her closing words before we turn over to Sheriff Duncan's in the ring. Nicole?
Randy,
Nicole, you heard
all that I
yes.
say? Yes, I'm hearing. I don't know if you're hearing me. I wasn't hearing you well just now.
Go ahead. Close up.
With all that was unearthed on the vaccines in Ghana and in Pakistan and all of those places, with all of those reports, all I will say, I continue to say, Guyanese taxpayers are at risk. They're spending a whole lot of money for some vaccines that are questionable. I'm asking the journalists across Guyana and the newspaper editors to investigate this and to inquire from the president, installed Irfan Ali, Vice President Barjagdio, and all of those who receive that criminal element into our country. That's all I'll say. Other than that,
right.
For all our viewers and all Guyanese, just stay healthy, stay safe, wear your mask, wash your hands, and observe all protocols.
Thank you very much, Nicole. Nicole Telford, our political correspondent there. Nicole, thank you very much. And thank you, viewers, for staying tuned. And this was a bit of a strange time for me. I'm normally on at 5:30 in the afternoon. We came on at 7 because we had some things to do. But thank you very much for listening to this. And we commit you to the hands of Sheriff Duncan in the ring. Tune into that, APN UFC TV. We're on right now, and we are going up until 10. Even after 10, we'll have some more programming for you. Do enjoy the rest of you. Let's continue to work for national development and enjoy the rest of your night, folks. Be good to each other. Remember, COVID-19 is here. Do all the things you need to do to protect yourself. My name is Randolph Critchell. Do enjoy.